Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the pilot episode of the new HBO TV show Watchmen. A show that is brought to our screens certainly by one of the creative minds behind Game of Thrones, that is Damien Lindelof. And it stars Regina King, Don Johnson, Tim Blake Nelson, we have Jeremy Irons and Louis Gossett Jr. as well as others. And this first episode is called It's Summer and We're Running Out of Ice. Now, I'm a big fan of the 2009 Zack Snyder film Watchmen. I'm not an avid reader of the source material. I've heard it's a masterpiece. I've never got round to reading the source material, the Watchmen stuff. But I absolutely loved the film. I just think it's a modern masterpiece. I think some people give it too much of a hard time. It was an almost unfilmable piece of work, and I think Zack Snyder pulled it off admirably. So I've been really excited for this show. Some of the trailers that I've seen looked really interesting. Some of the things I've read made it sound really interesting. Now, this show is like its own beast. Of course, it's based on the source material, but it's its own thing in a sense of it's set in 2019, whereas the original Watchmen stuff was set in like the 80s. It's a whole new story here. We get, in the first episode, you get glimpses of things you will recognise. For example, you see a clip saying that Dr. Manhattan is seen on Mars, and you see advertisements for a TV show that's focusing on the Minutemen, and you see all these hints. There is a group of white supremacists that wear Rorschach masks called the 27th Cavalry, and this first episode feels very rich in story, and it feels like there's so much to learn about this universe that is being created for us, that is based on something that we love, but it feels like it's trying to tell its own story as well, which some of the reviews I've seen have been pretty harsh on this, in a sense of it's giving it a bit of a hard time that it's not maybe Watchmen. Well, no, it isn't, but it is at the same time. It feels familiar, it feels like it's Watchmen, but at the same time it feels like it's completely its own story as well. And this first episode spends a lot of its time trying to create this world and paint this world for us that we're going to be living in for some time. Like I say, it's set in the present day. There's obviously been some kind of almost like a civil war taking place at some point, between like a race war. Rorschach now has, in regards to his previous involvement in the story, he's now the inspiration for this 27th Cavalry, like I say, who's like this white supremacist group. And Don Johnson is like the police chief, and the police forces run slightly differently. In a sense of they can't draw the weapons without going through this checklist first, and they've got to wear these masks. And Regina King is some kind of vigilante superhero as well, and there's all this stuff going off. There's quite a lot happening in this first episode. There's almost too much happening. It's quite difficult to follow, is what I would say. Although there are aspects of it that I did enjoy, I feel as though it tried to cram too much into this first episode, and maybe it should have just put the brakes on a little bit and slowly introduced it a little bit more. You don't feel like you're learning anything about anybody or anything by watching this first episode, and it doesn't do a brilliant job of wanting of making you want to learn more about this world, if you like. It's only out of my curiosity for this franchise and for this for this show and this brand, if you like, Watchmen, that I'm going to continue watching. I'm going to give it some more time because I want to see how this show evolves. I'm not saying I want to see, you know, throwbacks to all the Watchmen stuff that we all know and love. I don't mind it being its own thing. I just want it to start making a bit of sense fairly quickly, and giving us a tangible story, if you like, if that makes any sense at all. But I'm going to give it some time. For a TV show, it's pretty brutal as well. There's some really pretty good action here and there, but I think it's got to up its game for this to really grasp an audience. So I'm giving this pilot episode a 7 out of 10. Certainly watchable. It's a decent enough start, but I do think it has some work to do. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time on Screen Stars.